Also, very recently, actually, we initiated this kind of megacity think tank alliance, actually, in short, META. As you know, the Asian megacities are actually now facing a high level of urbanization. In particular, as you can see, there are many Asian megacities, in particular China and India. And in Seoul, actually, the Seoul is kind of located in the middle of these megacities in terms of population and income level. So probably the Seoul city is actually we are trying to kind of some liaison functions, the connecting between these two categories. So actually we are trying to focus on Asian cities. So actually we need to know our problems, then definitely we know the solutions, what you can do to handle such many urban problems. In particular, Asian megacities may have the common philosophy and some common ideas, such as Asian megacities usually focusing on human and community. So based on this situation, actually, we recognize that to overcome urban problems, mutual cooperation and network in Asian countries are very important. So based on this situation, we emphasize cooperation between in particular in the Asian megacities. So based on that, actually we initiated and launched the Megacity Think Tank Alliance META this July. Then at the first moment, the Singapore and the Beijing and Shanghai and Ho Chi Minh City joined this alliance. Then actually we truly welcome the joining this alliance from the Indian cities. So that's why I am here to introduce this alliance of META here. Okay, thank you for this short presentation. What's the role of Seoul Institute and this META project? Okay, now we are going to move to the presentation. So firstly, Dr. Choi will be present about the Seoul's experience, how to manage the air quality for the megacity levels.
Thank you for coming to this session. I'm very glad to be here, all of you today. This afternoon, I'm going to introduce what kind of policies and countermeasures Seoul actually have been introducing to improve air quality in Seoul. So I'm going to show you the introduction of Seoul from air quality perspective, and then move on how air quality in Seoul have been changed and what kind of policies and measures play a key role in improving air quality in Seoul, and then finally move on the challenges which Seoul is facing now, and then the further directions for that problem. So here the air quality actually closely related to the location and geophysical characteristics of area. So as you can see, Korea is located in Northeast Asia, and China in west side and Japan in east side. This is Seoul. So as you can see, Seoul is surrounded the mountains from the north, east, and south. So the mainly wind comes from this way, the west and northwest. So in some conditions, the air pollution does not disperse well because of the mountains blocking the dispersions. So some cases, the pollutant accumulate inside in Seoul and end up with air pollution episode in Seoul. So, and Here is the population density and automobile in Seoul. As you can see, the population density in Seoul is like 17,000 persons per square kilometers. So compared to other megacities in the world, Tokyo, Berlin, Beijing, New York, Paris, the population density is higher than these cities. So let me show you the trend of population and vehicles and energy consumption in Seoul. The first population, compared to the 1970, the population increased around 2 times. But as you can see, the vehicles increased 50 times between 1970 to 2010. It is a big change. And there is not a big change about the total amount of energy consumption, but you can see the smooth change from less clean energy, like the blue means oil and the red means the natural gas and orange means coals. So as you can see, we changed the energy source from the less clean energy to more clean energy, like the electricity and natural gas. So from now on, I'm going to show you how the air quality in Seoul has been changed. This is the lead. The lead has been in the country long ago. The main source of lead was the leaded gasoline for the fuels. But since 1986, the Seoul Metro government and Korean central government banned using the leaded gasoline. After that time, the lead has been controlled very well. And next to the SO2 sulfur dioxide, this is the concentration of SO2 trend. Look at from the 1995, this is the average standard set by Seoul Metropolitan Government. As you can see, the concentration of SO2 far below the standard. The key measures, actually the main source of SO2 is coal and oil combustions for heating buildings. The key measures for SO2 improvement is to introduce enhanced and sulfur content limit in fuels since 1981 and supply low sulfur oil and LNG since 1988. I'm going to get back to this topic later on in more detail. Also, CO in Seoul has been staying at below the environmental standard. Main source of CO emission is fuel combustions, particularly for the motor vehicles. The key measures for this is to introduce and strengthen emission standard for motor vehicles since 1991 and promote the use of low emission vehicles and switch to cleaner heating fuels like to natural gas. This is NO2 concentration. The NO2 does not show big improvement, but recently we actually reached at the standard like this. Ooh. Like this. But every year Seoul actually experienced the high NO2, the violation days. So we have to keep an eye on this, the air pollutant as well. The main source of NO2 is fuel combustion for vehicles and heating. Key measures for this air pollutant is to change to clean heating fuel and introduce and strengthen emission standard for motor vehicles and to promote the use of low emission vehicles. This is PM. PM actually very hot issue in Seoul. So as you can see, Seoul, the PM concentration is on a decreasing trend like this. Actually, Seoul metropolitan government and also Korean central government try hard to reach this level. The main source of the PM is fuel combustion for motor vehicles, especially diesel vehicles, and fugitive dust like road dust and construction dust and secondary formations. Key measures for this PM improvement is to change to clean heating fuel and introduce and strengthen emission standard for vehicles. And also promote the use of low emission vehicles and purify the dirty diesel vehicles with many kind of policies and measures. So, I'm gonna go back to this issue later on for the detail. This is ozone trend in Seoul. The ozone also tricky and problematic pollutant in Seoul. So ozone actually formed from photochemical reactions of NOx and VOC on the sunlight. During summertime, depending on weather conditions, Seoul experiencing high ozone events. But there is a good news. The number of days of the high ozone days is decreasing. So I think we are working properly. Like PM, the ozone is not easy thing to control or manage because there are many uncertain things about the ozone formations. So we have to work hard on the air pollutant as well. So from now on, I'm going to introduce key actions Seoul taken to improve air quality. The main important policy package, I think, is to transition to cleaner fuel. Of course, the policy package actually play role in reducing not only SO2 but also other pollutants like PM, NO2, and CO. But we can see the drastic change of SO2 concentration. So I put this policy package in the key policy for SO2 reduction in Seoul. Let me explain a little bit about background. During 1970s and 1980s, the air quality in Seoul was very serious and very bad. The SO2 concentration at that time was 2 or 4 times higher than the standard, and at that time, the fuel for heating for building was coal and oils with higher sulfur content. To improve that conditions and solve the SO2 problem, the policy package for SO2 reduction has been implemented. This is the things. First, the government tried to supply low sulfur fuels. So in 1981, in Seoul metropolitan area, we supply low sulfur fuels, starting from Seoul metropolitan area and then expand nationwide. And also government set and enhance sulfur content limit in fuels gradually. And also government ban using solid fuels such as coal and wood for business facility in Seoul metropolitan area from 1985. And also government mandate the use of a clean fuel. Starting from 1988, starting to apply to large size business facility and then expand to small sized apartment buildings. Also, the Seoul also expand LNG supply for houses. So the Seoul metropolitan government launched fund to support all expansion of the LNG infrastructure and to provide low interest loan to LNG suppliers. So as a result, as of 2012, the LNG supply rate for houses in Seoul was about 95%. Second policy package is for automobiles. As I mentioned before, the air pollution emission source in Seoul is automobiles, vehicles, cars. So the government try very hard to tackle the vehicles. Let me show you the background. In early 2000, PM10 concentration in Seoul was the highest in OECD cities, even highest in major cities in Korea. At that time, in 2003 or 2004, the diesel vehicle registered in Seoul amount to 28% of registered vehicles registered in Seoul. Actually, diesel cars are known to emit much more PM and NOx than gasoline cars. So we in Seoul and Korean central government focused on diesel vehicles to reduce the PM concentration in Seoul. So there is the key policies for the in-use diesel vehicles. First, stricter and more detailed vehicle emission inspections for diesel vehicles have been applied to the diesel vehicles, and also implement various policies and programs for in-use diesel vehicles to reduce PM emissions. First, so metropolitan area, those failed to the emission test should install the DPF or DOC or replace with the low emission engines like LPG engine or scrap early. So in 2003, Seoul Metropolitan Government started a pilot project, and then now this program is actually mandatory for diesel vehicles with these conditions. And along with that, the program, the Seoul Metropolitan Government provide financial support for vehicle owners. So the government supports 70 to 80% of the expenses of installation of the devices and the retrofit of engine or scrap. Another important thing with that program is the ex-post management of emission reduction equipment and LPG engine. So government let the manufacturer of emission reduction equipment responsible for the submission of quarterly reports regarding the equipment and engines. And we set up the 40 cleaning centers to clean the filter in DPF devices. So here is the performance. As of 2012, from the 2003, we changed many old, dirty diesel vehicles with more cleaner the diesel vehicles with these devices and these policies. And also we, Seoul Metropolitan Government, replaced diesel buses and garbage trucks with CNG vehicles. And as of 2013, 10,000 buses and garbage trucks replaced with the CNG vehicles. And also government tried very hard to expand the green cars like electric cars. There are the environmental friendly traffic policies, but I think this will be covered by Dr. Go later on, so I'm not gonna explain this slide. As for the point source like business facilities and plant, for large scale business facilities and plant, we enhance emission limits. As for the small, medium-sized facilities, we provided low NOx bonus to reduce NOx emissions. And there are other stuff for the other policies for area sources like introduce water spraying and vacuum cleaning vehicles with a strong power to suck out the even fine particles. And we also, from this year, Seoul Metropolitan Government support boiler retrofit for individual houses. So this is the new policies for this year. Indirectly, Seoul Metropolitan Government tried to expand the green area by introducing urban agriculture and small-sized green zone project. Here is the challenge and next steps for Seoul. Before this, I'm going to give you some brief the reference. The actual air pollutants are classified two kinds: primary pollutants and secondary pollutants. The primary pollutants are pollutants emitted by directly from emission sources. So SO2, CO, lead, some PM10 and PM2.5 NO2 belong to this category. Secondary pollutants are formed from the chemical and physical reactions and processes in the air. So ozone and NO2, some PM, belong to these categories. The usually primary pollutant can be reduced by just reducing emissions from the direct sources, but secondary pollutant, it is not working that way. So it is very hard to control and manage. Unfortunately, Seoul is facing with the secondary pollutant problem like the ozone, PM, and NO2, which is more difficult to control than primary pollutant. So there are still many uncertain factors for the secondary pollutant like this. Emission source and formation contributions. Also with increasing interest in public health, the demand for healthy air is going up. Internationally, the direction of air pollution management is moving from the clean air to healthy air. So to solve secondary air pollution problem, I think we need to take an airshed-based approach rather than just district boundary the approach, air pollution approach. For example, the pollutant with the less short residence time like PM and SO2, just to stay local. So local policy can be can solve the local air quality problem like the SO2 and lead, but pollutant like long residence times such as PM, ozone, CO can travel long distance. So it is very hard to solve with the local emission reduction and management. So we need more cooperation with neighboring cities and countries. So Seoul actually working hard in that topic. So by cooperating, holding the international seminars with China and Mongol and Japan and other Asian cities, and also the cooperating with the neighboring cities. And second thing is to take an integrate multi-pollutant approach, not to control the secondary pollutant. The secondary pollutant are interacting each other in complicated manner. So traditional approach is single pollutant management does not work well. So we need to take multi-pollutant approach to tackle the secondary pollutant. To shift and integrate multi-pollutant approach, there are many various things to be done, but it is not simple and it may take a while. But Seoul, the metropolitan government, and Korea, and the central government try to take the method to improve the secondary air pollutant in Seoul and in Korea. So I think this is it for today. Thank you for your attention. Thanks.
Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you for your very great presentation about air quality management in Seoul. Next speaker is Dr. Sang-Young Shin from the Seoul Institute. He's going to make a presentation about Seoul's master plan for the safety management. Please. Please.
Present. First, let me introduce you to this presentation. In April 2014, Seoul Metropolitan Government made firstly the Seoul Master Plan for Safety Management as a medium-range comprehensive framework on the urban safety management. The new plan gives emphasis on the coordination among different hazards in charge of various departments and sectors, balance between structural and non-structural measures, and citizen participation as well as collaboration among different stakeholders. This presentation is to introduce the background and content of the plan and to discuss the lessons learned and further issues of safety management in Seoul. Second, let's look at urban safety of Seoul. Natural disasters of Seoul. Natural disaster in Seoul is characterized by repetitive, intensified urban flooding and landslides resulting from urban development and extreme weather events due to climate change. Here are several reference maps. This map shows the further prone areas in Seoul.
Translators are requesting if you can increase the font size.
No, English font size.
Not able to catch.
Really?
Or you can slow your tempo.
Slow. Okay. This map shows the lowland below the high water level. This map shows the slope of the urbanized area of Seoul. And impervious ratio. Impervious ratio is important because the higher impervious ratio maybe the higher stormwater runoff, resulting in the further damage and disgust. These are the several photographs of further damage and landslide in Seoul. Most recently, Seoul experienced severe heavy rainfall and flood damages in 2010 September. At that time, the rainfall was 99 millimeters per hour. In 2011 August, at that time, rainfall was 111 millimeters per hour. These maps, this map shows the flood areas in 1984. This map shows the flood areas in the built-up areas in 1998. This map shows the most recent flood damage in downtown areas. Also, this is a big landslide, a kind of debris flow in year 2011. At that time, many people died from this landslide. Climate change problems is important in Seoul too. The temperature and flood precipitation and the intensity of rainfall increased for the last decades, and precipitation and intensity of rainfall are expected to increase in the future based on the IPCC climate change scenarios. Let's look at the man-made disaster and the daily life accidents. This graph shows the occurrence and human damage. This graph shows the occurrence and property damage. First, occurrence and human damage. As you may expect that traffic accidents is a large share in death toll, and also the mountain climbing, urban fire, and the other several disasters and accidents resulting in the high rate of death tolls. And the property damage caused mostly by urban fire, as you see. These photos show the big man-made disasters in Seoul. This is the Seongsu Bridge collapse taking place in 1994. At the time, 49 casualties and 32 persons died from this disaster. And in 1994, Samsung department stores collapsed. At that time, 502 persons dead and 937 injured, and 6 persons missed from this big disaster. Let's look at the urban built environment in terms of urban safety. And in Seoul, buildings and facilities get older, dense, higher and bigger. Also the underground facilities go deeper and deeper. So in terms of urban safety, the urban spaces get more vulnerable to large scale disasters. Crime and traffic accidents. This graph shows the 5 violent crimes. Most crimes are assault and burglary, but recently the sexual assault has increased rapidly. This map shows that the traffic accident hotspot. Let's look at the social demographic changes. Several graphs indicate that urban safety issues are more may be important as the female population increases, citizens of foreign origin increases, visiting foreigners increase, elderly population increases. 1% household increase, and disabled population also increase. So the increase of demand for safety and welfare are important as a vulnerable population increases. We surveyed the questionnaires to the citizens and experts. You see this graph. Importance on the x-axis, satisfaction on the y-axis. So you see the crime is high level of importance but low satisfaction, and the natural disaster is high importance but and medium satisfaction. So like that, this graph implies that urgent to improve crime prevention and also urgent to improve disaster prevention facilities and urban development for the urban safety in Seoul. let's just go over the process and background of the comprehensive plan for the safety management in Seoul. Does the Seoul Metropolitan Government think that we need a new safety management plan because existing plan system is like the no medium to large range comprehensive plan for the safety management at the metropolitan level. So the existing planning system is just a passive, fragmentary, and myopic approach to the disasters, and overwhelmingly oriented to the structural measures such as urban infrastructures. We at the time we need the new plan system by adding a medium-range comprehensive plan. This plan may give emphasis on the coordination among different hazards in charge of various sectors, balance between structural and non-structural measures, citizen participation as well as collaboration, and daily life safety as well as big disasters. So planning system may shift like this. Existing planning system like this, two-tiered kind of two-tiered system. National government set a national master plan for safety management every 5 years, and local government set the annual plan for safety management. So local government only have the implementation plan for safety management, but new system like this, local government added another master plan. So our Seoul Metropolis government made a Seoul master plan for safety management. So three-tiered planning system for the safety management. Paradigm shift for urban safety framework. Let's just skip this part due to the time limit. The major characteristics of the master plan is like this. First, this plan is a comprehensive plan covering various urban safety issues, including natural and man-made disasters, every accident, and so on. And this plan is a guidance plan, suggesting urban safety policies and programs to various related domains such as urban infrastructure, environment, urban planning, housing, social welfare, and so on. And this plan is a medium-term plan toward 5 to 10 years. 10 years. The structure of the plan is like this order. Let me skip this part. In the plan, we said the vision is making Seoul where every citizen feels safe, and as a goal, we said setting up urban safety net. We said we made four core strategies. Let me introduce these 4 core strategies. In the next part, first, strengthening the preventive safety management. So this strategy includes such strategies as applying safety measures actively from urban planning strategies and regular monitoring urban risk and safety indicators. Second strategy is forming up the disaster preparedness and response, including disaster information and alert system, protecting urban critical infrastructure, improving disaster response manual, strengthening resource management and mobilization, and upgrading search and rescue systems. Third strategy is arranging complete recovery systems, including making long-range recovery and revival strategies, and utilizing specialized organization and public participation. The fourth strategy is securing urban safety through participation and communication, including offering every information important to the citizen, developing crisis management communication manuals, making citizen-driven safe neighborhoods, and networking and cooperations for the urban safety. Let's look at the safety measures by field. In the plan, we classified two types of disasters and accidents, major and minor, based on the risk. For example, major disaster accidents are 17. They are high levels of risk to the soul. For example, flood, landslide and erosion, heavy snowfall, heat wave, cold wave, facility collapse, fire, and so on. And minor disasters and accidents include 49, including drought, green tide, yellow dust, thunderstroke, hazardous material accidents, and so on. For example, as your major disasters, urban flood include such measures as like this, customized strategy to 34 flood-prone areas. In Seoul areas, 34 areas, repetitive flood-prone areas. So the government may strengthen the flood preventive actions for the areas. For the 34 flood-prone areas, we use the measures like this way. In addition to traditional structural measures such as drainage systems, improvement of pump stations, we also use the environmental friendly measures such as stormwater storage and infiltration measures. Also, for the urban flood, we strengthen the facilitate participation, communication, and cooperation of residents, experts, and public officials. Also, for the flood damages, the plan strengthens the integrated drainage management systems and at catchment scale, distributed stormwater management systems, and insurance, flood insurance for the hazard maps and so on. Landslide and erosion. For these disasters, the plan includes such measures as like this. Total inspections to hillside areas and evaluation of landslide risk, erosion control facilities, integrated hillside management information systems, development control in hillside areas, developing new environment-friendly facility design method. For heavy snowfall and heat wave and cold wave, the plan includes early warning and monitoring systems and special care of vulnerable area and population, such as the older people and disabled people. Facility collapse. The plan includes reducing older facilities. In Seoul Metropolis government classified 5 classes of facilities, A, B, C, D, E classes based on the ages, so that the class D and E may have a risk of collapse. So the plan have the target of the of reducing all the facilities of D and E class. And stronger management of big complex buildings, participation of private exposure to facility inspections, and seismic resistant design. In Korea, the earthquake possibility is relatively low, but our country is near the Japan, where the earthquake is risk is very high. So our building need the seismic resistant design. And for fire and explosion, the plan includes special management of fire vulnerable buildings and facilities, evaluation of urban fire risks, and rapid response systems, and so on. Implementation. The plan includes several implementation approaches. So the plan has the stepwise implementation toward the year 2020 and set priorities based on the importance and urgency. And we set the budget plan and stepwise increase of budget for urban safety. These mechanisms also included for securing conformity and cooperation of the different related plans or related department, divisions, and agencies. Overlap, sorry. Also, the plan manages performance indicators and by monitoring annually and evaluating. Lessons learned from the new plan. The Seoul Master Plan for Safety Management is a first attempt to, at the local government level in Korea, to make a medium-range comprehensive framework on urban safety management. But the new plan has several limitations. The plan is a comprehensive plan, but insufficient in comprehensiveness. For example, it does not include crime prevention measures in which citizens are most interested, and insufficient in overcoming barriers of and cooperation among different departments, divisions, and agencies. And ambiguous characteristics of the plan. Strategic guidance plan or operation plan. At first, we are oriented to the strategic guidance plan, but the real actual result was kind of operation plans, kind of insufficient in comprehensiveness and long-range plan making. I introduced the Seoul Master Plan for Safety Management, but the Seoul Metropolis government many other plans and programs related to the urban safety. For example, recently Seoul Metropolitan Government set comprehensive measures for female safety in year 2013, and also the crime prevention through environmental design projects. Seoul is a very big old cities, and accepted crime prevention through environmental design project was carried going on in several crime-prone areas, residential areas, school, and other vulnerable, crime-vulnerable areas. That's it. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
We should finish this session by raise some issues about Seoul's transportation. Then I will very briefly overview this this topic here. Basically, I tried to overview the Seoul's transportation in the past and now, and I'm going to introduce very shortly the vision for the future, and then I will introduce some examples about what we are doing for the better transportation systems. So there are many photos here, so you can see some changes over the, I'll say, the 17 years ago. Then actually, from the pedestrian, now we are much more focusing on cars, and also we expanded our roadway networks, and also experienced the rapid development. You can see here. So the vacant area to the, I would say, highly dense area, and then you can see we are actually the experience of the high rate, actually the significant high rate of increase of car population and also the people population. So based on this situation, we should focus on cars. So that's why we constructed highways along the river and some elevated highways and say the footbridge for the pedestrians, and also introduce some scientific management for the roadway systems, such as freeway traffic management systems from 1997. Also, we introduced some new, the legal process for the new development to control the traffic impact. And then we also transport demand management to control the number of passenger cars, such as annual traffic impact fee. For example, every year, the Seoul City government assess some amount of money for the building owners to reduce the amount of traffic, and then also we ask the building owners and employers to do something to reduce their traffic. Also, we designate some areas as a parking cap. So in that area, the number of parking spaces are restricted. Then also very recently, we introduced some weekly no driving day program. So based on this program, the drivers are suggested or advised to not to drive on that day. And then very recently, such as in 2004, probably 10 years ago, we introduced public transportation reform like this. But still, we have some problems. Still, the Seoul citizens are depending on cars. And then congestion cost is really big. But, and then it is expected this cost will increase very sharply in 20 years later. So based on this situation, so we need to change our transportation, I would say, policy paradigm, such as from cars to human, and from the top-down approach to the bottom-up. And then in the past, we focus on only efficiency, but now we need to compromise or the balance, or I would say the balance, the equity, sustainability, and some economic all together. So based on this situation, we might come up with 3 keywords for the vision: human sharing environment. So probably this is one, the vision, kind of the motto. So livable Seoul without relying on cars. So this is a kind of new paradigm for the transportation policies. I skip this. And then we set up some new objectives. So now, briefly, I will introduce some practices the Seoul City is doing. For example, in this slide, you can compare the before and after this street. So this street is changed to the bus-only street. So we call that this is a transit mode. So in this street, only the buses now allowed to travel on this road. So any cars are not allowed to travel. And then actually we shorten the roadways from the 4-lane roadway to the 2 lanes. So that means actually we can allow more space to the pedestrians. So actually we're focusing on pedestrians based on this project. So based on this project, actually we saw the less number of traffic accidents. More cities are satisfied with this project. And stores near this street, actually their sales actually increases. And then we introduced the car sharing programs. So in this case, actually, we introduced some smart technology, such as the easy renting system using the smart card or some mobile phone. So in some cases, we introduced the electric vehicles for the car sharing cars. So recently, some statistics indicate that more and more, the Seoul cities are using this program, and more citizens are satisfying this problem. And then this is a third case of the removal of overpasses. So probably you can see many overpasses are constructed to, I would say, better traffic flow. But now in Seoul, actually, we are, I say, demolishing these overpasses. Actually, so the reason why we demolish these overpasses is that, I would say, for better landscape and for better pedestrian accesses. And in some cases, we can, I would say, introduce some bus lanes in the middle lane. So anyway, this is the basic idea of this demolition of overpasses. So very ironically, actually we saw in some cases, actually the most of cases, except 2 cases, actually travel speed of cars actually increase even after the removal of these overpasses. And then actually land value of this removal, land value of these overpasses actually increase because of the better landscape. And then also we are trying to increase more and more pedestrian spaces. Actually, you are seeing the downtown area of the Seoul. So actually, we are trying to provide more and more pedestrian spaces. So again, this is a kind of summary. So in the past, actually, we are focusing on cars, but now we are trying to focus on humans and environment and some kind of green spaces, and also we are trying to sharing. So probably the Seoul's future transport policies now focusing on these 3 keywords. So actually, we are trying to introduce more and more practices and projects to, I would say, to emphasize these 3 keywords. Thank you very much. Okay, the next presentation is made by Victor. So he's going to cover some Paris cases.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. I am sorry I talk in French for the presentation, and you can't take your headphone. Donc je vais vous parler plutôt de la planification stratégique sur une grande ville qui est Paris et sa région. Une petite introduction, vu le temps qui nous reste très limité, je vais aller assez vite. Vous voyez, Paris est entouré, et la région parisienne, c'est la plus grande région d'Europe. Quelques chiffres clés pour encadrer ma présentation. Donc, la région parisienne compte à peu près 12 millions d'habitants, ce qui représente 20% de la population en France, couvre 12 000 km², dont 80% de ces 12 000 km² sont des espaces naturels. Donc, il n'y a que 20% de l'espace qui est urbanisé par rapport à la totalité du territoire. La densité moyenne est de l'ordre de 982 habitants au km², avec 5,3 millions d'emplois et un PIB, donc produit intérieur brut, de l'ordre de 445 milliards d'euros, ce qui représente 28% du PIB national. Donc l'agglomération parisienne en elle-même, ça veut dire l'espace urbanisé, compte 2700 km² avec 9,5 millions d'habitants. Donc la région est composée de plusieurs découpages administratifs. Bien sûr, la région Île-de-France, avec 8 départements, dont Paris fait partie des départements, avec à peu près 1300 communes. Donc vous voyez un peu la complexité de la structure de la région Île-de-France, avec aussi la création de 5 villes nouvelles qui viennent s'agreffer, qui sont assurées en orange, que vous voyez sur la carte là, les villes nouvelles autour de Paris, à une trentaine de kilomètres. Donc l'évolution de l'urbanisation en 1900, donc au début du siècle dernier, Vous voyez Paris occuper le cœur de la région. Oula. Donc Paris occupait le cœur de la région, et avec les extensions de 1960, vous voyez l'étalement urbain en tache d'huile, et en 94 qui couvre pratiquement la banlieue de Paris avec les terres agricoles qui sont complètement urbanisées. Donc on va passer rapidement sur cette évolution dans les détails, vu le temps qui nous reste. Donc comment une grande ville planifie son extension et son développement. Vous voyez en 1960, le premier plan de planification couvrait les territoires où il y avait de l'urbanisation. Par la suite, en 1965, le plan a élargi la vision pour couvrir les extensions. En 1976, il a encore élargi pour couvrir le reste. Et puis depuis 1994, avec la décentralisation et la création des régions, on a la région qui est dans ces limites que vous voyez ici. Donc les limites de la région Île-de-France avec ce qu'on appelle le SDRIF, ça veut dire schéma directeur d'aménagement urbain. Donc je passe les détails de l'évolution de l'urbanisation par les plans successifs qui ont intégré à chaque fois l'évolution, les crises pétrolières, les problèmes d'effet de serre avec le gaz, etc. Et pour trouver un bilan que la planification stratégique et la planification réglementaire, il y a un balancier entre les deux. Donc, on a l'autorité publique qui est aménageuse avec une autorité publique qui est régulatrice. On a eu une évolution également des pouvoirs et des rôles. Avant, c'était l'État et les collectivités qui faisaient tout. Aujourd'hui, on a le secteur public et le secteur privé qui s'engagent fortement dans la planification. Et puis une transformation des priorités, puisque avant tout était considéré pour la voiture, et maintenant on passe au transport en commun, comme on avait vu l'exemple sur Séoul tout à l'heure. Donc de l'extension urbaine, avant, à chaque fois on avait besoin d'urbanisation, on fait des extensions sur les terres agricoles. Maintenant on fait plutôt la ville sur la ville, donc la régénération urbaine. Et puis de la croissance économique à outrance, maintenant on passe au développement plutôt durable, soutenable. Donc une planification nécessaire pour un développement durable, il faut avoir l'anticipation, la convergence et la synergie, la gestion du temps, la transparence et continuité des règles, la soutenabilité des politiques et l'évaluation des politiques et des actions pour ajuster à chaque fois ces politiques. Donc, quelle planification territoriale pour l'avenir pour les grandes métropoles? Tout d'abord, il faut que ce soit une planification négociée. Ensuite, que cette planification soit publique, mais participative avec la population et tous les acteurs. Il faut qu'elle soit transversale, pas sectorielle, transport, développement économique, environnement, habitat. Il faut que ça soit transversal. Et puis, il faut qu'elle soit stratégique, ça veut dire dans une vision de mise en œuvre, d'avenir et d'ajustement, et avec les moyens pour mettre en œuvre cette planification. Et puis, il faut que ça soit une planification permanente, ça veut dire avec des évaluations permanentes pour ajuster, et puis une planification évolutive et glissante qui répond aux besoins et à l'évolution sociétale. Donc, sur cette base-là, on a élaboré ce qu'on appelle aujourd'hui le schéma directeur d'aménagement et d'urbanisme de la région Île-de-France, qui est parti d'un projet de société, d'un projet de développement que vous voyez sous vos yeux, qui couvre tout le territoire, avec 3 grands défis: la cohésion sociale et territoriale au sein du territoire régional, les réponses à apporter face aux enjeux climatiques et énergétiques, le dynamique régional et le maintien du rang de l'Île-de-France parmi les métropoles mondiales. Donc ça, c'était les 3 défis à relever. 5 objectifs complémentaires. La production de 60 000, maintenant on est à 70 000 logements par an, donc un défi majeur de construction de logements. Le développement de l'activité économique et du rayonnement, l'activité économique et le rayonnement international. L'approche stratégique des transports au service du projet spatial. la préservation, la restauration et la valorisation des ressources naturelles pour un environnement de qualité, l'équipement et services de qualité en Île-de-France. Donc, à partir de ces 5 objectifs, on a défini 3 axes stratégiques. Promouvoir une ville plus compacte et plus dense. Donc, c'est le premier axe. Une ville plus compacte et plus dense. Développer l'offre urbaine et la qualité de vie en Île-de-France en renforçant le potentiel économique. Donc, s'il n'y a pas de développement économique, on ne peut pas avoir une qualité de vie. Protéger la biodiversité et valoriser les espaces agricoles et naturels et garantir la cohérence du système des espaces naturels. Donc, il y a une attention particulière vu que le territoire de la région est occupé 20% par l'urbain et 80% par des espaces naturels. Donc, il faut maintenir ce système et la biodiversité de la région. Donc, comme on avait dit, une planification stratégique pour une grande métropole, c'est une planification négociée, participative, etc. Vous voyez sur ce schéma la complexité qui a été mise en place pour pouvoir élaborer un document qui répond aux besoins en faisant participer tous les acteurs et même la population. Donc, un document élaboré par la région, mais avec l'État qui est associé. Et puis, on accueille les avis des départements et des chambres consulaires. Et puis, un projet qui est soumis pour avis aux personnes publiques associées, ça veut dire tous ces gens-là. Et puis, un projet soumis à la fin à une enquête publique. Donc, vous voyez, c'est des démarches très, très longues, mais qui associent tout le monde. Et donc, entre 2011 et 2012, le dernier document, il y a eu 4 comités de pilotage, 32 comités techniques, une 50aine de rencontres institutionnelles et 2 jours de délibération au sein du Conseil régional avec 377 amendements pour l'arrêt du projet du Conseil régional. Donc, comment ce projet a été construit? Donc, toutes les grandes villes devraient mettre en place un système pour construire la planification stratégique de son territoire. Donc, on avait dit 3 défis qui se déclinent par un projet spatial qui maintient le développement durable, donc des objectifs à la fois à l'échelle régionale mais à l'échelle locale, des objectifs à l'échelle métropolitaine, et puis une géographie stratégique avec des territoires d'intérêt métropolitaine. Et à partir de là, on a des orientations normatives avec une traduction spatiale sur la carte des destinations générales des sols, et puis à la fin, un outil de mise en œuvre. Mais tout ça basé sur les 3 piliers qu'on avait dit, ça veut dire relier et structurer, tout ce qui est problème de transport et de maillage du territoire, polariser et équilibrer, donc renforcer les polarités et équilibrer la répartition, et préserver et valoriser, donc tout ce qui est environnement, patrimoine, à préserver et à valoriser. Et le long de toute cette démarche, une évaluation environnementale pour mesurer l'état de l'environnement avant de mettre en place la planification et les impacts de cette planification sur l'environnement à moyen et long terme et quelles sont les mesures à mettre en place pour compenser les impacts sur l'environnement. Donc, agir pour une Île-de-France plus solidaire, on a 3 sphères, on a dit, sur les inégalités de mobilité, sur les inégalités sociales et sur les inégalités environnementales. Donc là, il faut répondre à toutes ces inégalités. Il faut anticiper les mutations environnementales. On a le défi climatique, la hausse des températures d'ici la fin du siècle, les risques sanitaires qui sont multipliés, les canicules, la pollution atmosphérique qu'on avait vu tout à l'heure sur les risques sur Séoul aussi, les pollutions des eaux aussi avec les inondations, et puis les ressources des eaux qui sont fragilisées à cause de la recharge, manque de recharge des nappes ou le niveau des rivières, et puis maintenir la biodiversité, et puis les plus importants aussi, les événements avec le réchauffement climatique extrême, sécheresse, crues d'orage, incendies. Donc tout ça, il faut les anticiper dans une planification stratégique pour répondre aux défis. Et enfin, conforter l'attractivité et accompagner la conversion écologique et sociale de l'économie avec des organisations internationales, puisque Paris et sa région, c'est la 2e métropole dans le monde pour accueillir les sièges de ces organisations, avec le dépôt à environ 5000 brevets, et puis l'existence de 91 600 chercheurs, et puis l'existence de 9 pôles et de compétitivité avec 17 universités et 55 grandes écoles. Donc tout ça, ça a été traduit par un projet spatial que vous voyez sous vos yeux, qui garde la compacité, le polycentrisme et qui articule surtout transport et urbanisme. Ça veut dire qu'on densifie autour des gares, autour des pôles de transport en commun pour éviter l'usage de la voiture. Améliorer la qualité des quotidiens, de la vie quotidienne des Franciliennes avec la construction, on a dit, de 70 000 logements pour répondre aux besoins, de créer de 28 000 emplois, de garantir l'accessibilité à des équipements de services de qualité, de concevoir un transport pour une vie moins dépendante de l'automobile, donc transport en commun, transport doux, améliorer l'espace urbain et son environnement naturel. Consolider le fonctionnement métropolitain de l'Île-de-France, et là aussi en renforçant le dynamisme économique avec un système de transport porteur de l'attractivité, avec une valorisation des équipements attractifs, avec une gestion durable de l'écosystème naturel et renforcer la robustesse de l'Île-de-France. Et tout ça est traduit par des orientations réglementaires. Donc pour le mettre en œuvre, il y a toute une carte et un règlement qui définit point par point ces axes stratégiques, comment on relie et on structure, comment on polarise et on équilibre. Tout ça, c'est à la fois illustré avec le règlement, comment on préserve et on valorise, comme vous voyez sur cette carte-là. Donc, l'évaluation environnementale à l'entrée, le processus itératif de l'évolution environnementale. À l'entrée, on a le projet et qui est évalué l'état initial avec l'élaboration, le suivi et à la sortie, quels sont les effets et quelles sont les protections à mettre en place pour que cet environnement soit préservé. Et puis des propositions de mise en œuvre avec des contractualisations, des outils pour que ça ne soit pas juste une vision de l'avenir à long terme, mais vraiment un projet avec les outils de sa mise en œuvre. Donc ce projet est composé de plusieurs documents. Un premier document qui est le défi, le projet spatial et les objectifs. Un deuxième document qui sont les orientations réglementaires avec la carte des destinations générales des sols. Une évaluation environnementale, proposition pour la mise en œuvre et puis le projet de vision qui est élaboré par le conseil régional. Je suis désolé parce que j'ai fait vite et je suis désolé pour les interprètes parce que ce n'est pas évident. Mais je crois qu'on a maintenu le temps parce qu'on devrait terminer à temps et j'étais le dernier. Donc, je vous remercie de votre attention. Et en tout cas, vous avez mon mail qui était affiché. Vous pouvez me contacter si vous avez besoin d'autres informations. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Victor. Actually, as Victor mentioned that actually he actually conveyed very compact presentation. So I'm really sorry for keep asking you to shorten your presentation. Please forgive me. And actually, we should wrap up this session without any Q&A session and any session because of the time is running. Actually, the closing ceremony is actually she mentioned mentioned that already now is already happening outside. So, okay. Thank you for your attending in this session. And if you have any questions or comment, please, make some face-to-face communication or the dialogue with these experts. Then again, once again, thank you for participating in this session and have a nice day. Thank you very much.
Just a little memento from Metropolis. Okay. Thank you for coming in. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for your.
Thank you, and please join us for the closing ceremony.
Okay, thank you.